who, after his debate performance last week, is pushing forward to turn the page. Biden sat down for a primetime interview last night and is touting a solo news conference at the NATO summit next week. The Biden-Harris campaign also announced plans for a so-called July push, with the president and top surrogates on the ground in every battleground state. But consider the following. As Democrats continue to debate if Biden should step aside, with another House Democrat, Representative Angie Craig, today calling for the president to drop out, Republicans remain steadfast in their support for their convicted felon nominee. As the New York Times puts it, quote, after Mr. Trump was found guilty of 34 felonies by a Manhattan jury in May, there was no significant groundswell within the Republican Party to force him out of the race in favor of a less tainted candidate. Even though many Republican office holders and strategists privately loathe him, they fell in line and made clear they would stick with him no matter how many scandals piled up. Joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, a member of the House Oversight and Accountability
Sister Bootlicker,
Congresswoman, thank
Queen
you so
of
much for joining us
Bootlicking.
and getting us started this morning. I want to play a little bit of what President Biden said during his exclusive interview with ABC News anchor George Stephanopoulos last night. Take a very quick listen.
Are you the same man today that you were when you took office 3.5 years ago?
In terms of successes, yes.
But what has all that work over the last 3.5 years cost you physically, mentally, emotionally?
Well, I just think it cost me a really bad night, bad run. But, George, I'm optimistic about this country.
Congresswoman, you've been outspoken about your support for the president, even posting on Twitter that you are riding with Biden. So what do you say to the voters who may still have some concerns about
the Queen of Bootlicking is getting ready to
Trump?
speak. Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, so first of all, it's great to see you. Sorry that I sound a little hoarse. I am. I'm in New Orleans at Essence, where the vice president is also currently making her rounds as well. Let me tell you, the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans could not be more stark in so many ways. One of those ways that I think about is the fact that even those Democrats that are calling for the president to step aside, they're not calling for the president to step aside because they think that Joe Biden's a terrible person, because they think that he's a failure. They're calling for him to step aside because they are scared. One thing that I think we all are united in, no matter where you stand, is our fear. Our fear that somehow Donald Trump can get back into the White House, our fear that the Supreme Court will absolutely end up becoming even worse, because we know that Donald Trump plans to put 2 more Supreme Court justices on that court and give them lifetime appointments. Our fear because we know the reality of what they are seeking in Project 2025. And so the only thing that I'm asking everyone to do is to unite around the ticket. The ticket at this point in time is Biden and Harris. And so long as the president says that he can do this job, then that is our ticket.
Even if the man is old and has dementia. Ain't that some shit?
The will of the people
and not about a fucking ticket. Uniting around a bullshit ass ticket. Hold on. Let me do something here. This is what she looks like at going to the Essence Festival. Jasmine Crockett. Here we go. Oh my, yeah. Yup. There you go. Let me go ahead and continue on. Sometimes you just gotta give a little commentary. But I give those slot remarks while she's talking. Here we go.
It's not what we do in a democracy. When we think about it, if the polling was right, we never would have had a Donald Trump. If the polling was right, we wouldn't have Democrats overperforming by 20 points in a number of elections. Let's stay the course. Let's recognize who the real enemy is. Let's not give fodder to the Republicans come November by tearing each other apart.
You serve on that Oversight and Accountability committees. You've seen the waste of time, money, and resources that come from the House GOP baselessly pursuing Donald Trump's agenda, his conspiracy theories. Nothing is getting done by that chaos caucus. How important is it to keep Donald Trump out of the Oval Office again if America wants to see actual work get done for Americans?
Yeah, if you just want to make sure that there's an agenda that is only going to benefit Donald Trump, whether it's keeping him out of prison, which obviously that agenda is already well underway. This is why we have delayed sentencing in New York. It's why we can't get to any of the trials that are pending against him. I mean, the fact that this Supreme Court essentially has said, forget all precedents, we are going to bow down and do whatever King Donald wants us to do should scare the hell out of everybody. I don't care if you identify as a Republican, independent, or Democrat. You should be scared that our democracy is literally falling apart before our eyes. But when you talk
but you don't want you don't want your fellow Democrats to live in fear. Oh, so we're supposed to fear Donald Trump potentially destroying our so-called democracy. Yeah, all of this just sound like a bunch of bullshit. This is bullshit coming out of these Democrats' mouths. And you're going to see, we're going to see this shit up until Election Day. So be aware.
The work and oversight. Every time that we've tried to approach things such as emoluments, which we know that Donald Trump has taken so much foreign money, him as well as his daughter Ivanka, whether it was trademarks or whether it was dollars, they were getting paid at the expense of the American people. I'm just asking that the people put themselves first. And right now, if you decide that you want to go with Donald Trump, you are not putting yourself first. I know that we want to go back to pre-pandemic life. Lord knows I wish we could go back to then. And we know that Donald Trump was the president during the beginning of the pandemic as well as prior to the pandemic. But the reality is that we won't go back to pre-pandemic levels for anything by electing the guy that just so happened to be in office before the pandemic. So I know we're scared, but we need to harness that fear and turn it into a force of nature and save our country. We need to demand that we have no more chaos that we are seeing out of the Republican House. And essentially what we will do if Donald Trump becomes the president of the United States, it will be chaos times 3, because if he ends up becoming president, the chances of him actually getting the Senate are higher as well, and the chances of him maintaining the House are high. It will be so bad for us, because if you listen to the debate, regardless of the performances, every time Donald Trump was asked about the economy, he dodged the question. And we know that the economy is number one. He has no plan. He cares nothing about us. He only cares about himself.
You know, actress Taraji P. Henson hosted the BET Awards this past week, and she spoke out about the presidential election and Project 2025. Take a quick listen.
It's not just about the presidential election, you guys. It's time for us to play chess, not checkers. It's about making decisions that will affect us. Did you know that it is now a crime to be homeless? Pay attention. It's not a secret. Look it up. They are attacking our most vulnerable citizens.
Since when she care about the homeless, Taraji?
Plan is not a game.
I didn't even know you care about the homeless, baby. That's new.
And, you know, Congresswoman, people did look it up after that speech. The searches for that term, quote, Project 2025, saw a spike. Henson also mentioned a recent SCOTUS decision that criminalizes people sleeping outside in public places. In other words, criminalizes being homeless. I mean, how important is it for the American people to know more about Project 2025?
Listen, you know, interestingly enough,
what are we doing for the
Orange
homeless?
One tweeted about this, or
not a goddamn thing.
He recently addressed this, and he is trying to distance himself.
See, that's what they don't want to talk about.
I promise you, you will see that I have been in committee, and I have asked some of the people that are authors of Project 2025 about this. I mean, I remember one of my hearings where the witness was smug as smug can be as I was asking him questions, but he answered truthfully. This is their plan. And honestly, if you've been paying attention, you know that the plan is absolutely already in play.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, thank you for joining us this morning, and I hope you feel better. Sending you some good energy.
Thank you.
Still to come on the Katie Fang Show, it's Biden or bust. President Joe Biden saying he's in it to win it, telling the world last night in his primetime interview on ABC News he's still the one to beat Donald Trump in November.
Oh, yeah?
Keep it right here.
We'll see about that.
Rolex.
Let me skip all this shit here.
This whole experience and
Schedule
0514. Enough to eliminate.
Skip all these commercials.
Hotel price.
Ooh.
Democrats in crisis mode, trying to figure
Here we
out a
go.
path to victory after the first presidential debate. But with all the attention that is being given to Joe Biden, very little scrutiny has been given to the real issues that should have been discussed at the podium, and even less attention has been paid to Donald Trump's fire hose of lies and promises to destroy democracy. For example, Donald Trump has privately promised donors he'll ensure a national 16-week abortion ban, and publicly he's promised to begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, reinstate his Muslim travel ban, and expand it to include Gazan refugees, use the military to address domestic crime, eliminate
All
the
scare
Department of
tactics,
Education,
folks. All
roll
scare
back dozens of
tactics.
Biden's climate and gun control measures, enact a federal law stating that there are only two genders.
See, these people don't realize that a lot of this stuff that Trump is promising or wanting to do is going to benefit us. A lot of this stuff. So, especially when it comes to finish building the wall and getting control of this migrant crisis. You know what I'm saying? That's going to benefit us Black Americans. Repealing the Affordable Care Act, that's probably going to benefit us too, because I don't think we even saving that much on health care. You know? Acting the federal law stating that there are only two genders. Okay, I have no problem with that. You know what I mean? That's new. Freedom cities, that includes flying cars. Well, you know, that's a pipe dream. We'll see about that. But come on, man. These people need to do better than this. These people need to do better than this.
Repeal the Affordable Care Act, charter 10 new freedom cities that include flying cars. Yes, flying cars. And of course, finally, he promises to finish building that wall. Joining me now, Danielle Moody, host of the Woke AF Daily podcast and co-host of the Democracy-ish podcast and the Daily Beast New Abnormal podcast.
I'll tell you, they got the
And Susan
bootlickers.
Del Precio, Republican strategist and MSNBC
They got the
political
bootlickers
analyst.
on
Thank
deck,
you to both of you
boy.
for joining
Yeah,
me today,
Daniel Moody's
Danielle.
enough of
Yesterday, Donald
bootlicking.
Trump trying to backpedal
Queen
from any
bootlicker.
association with Project 2025 on his social media platform.
Another
He said,
bootlicking
quote,
queen.
I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who's behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. But his super PAC, Donald Trump's super PAC, running ads promoting Project 2025, calling it Trump's Project 2025. The leader of the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts, saying that Trump gets full credit for creating Project 2025 and will enact it if he wins. I mean, Danielle, shouldn't Democrats and the media be spending more time talking about the very real threats like Project 2025?
Yes, Katie, which is why I'm so appreciative of you. Because instead of us spending so much time focusing on
The Queen of Bootlicking is speaking.
focusing on a debate, we're not focusing on the big picture here, which is that in 4 months' time, American democracy as we know it could be finished, right? In 4 months' time, Donald Trump is talking about gutting the Department of Education, rolling back climate change initiatives, where right now in parts of the country are seeing 120-degree temperatures, but he wants to roll back climate change and policies. So we need to be focusing on what's important, which is that this country is in danger if Republicans get a hold of the executive
The country's
branch.
in danger,
Following
y'all.
the Supreme
Oh,
Court's
shit.
ruling,
Did y'all know
Donald Trump
that?
will never leave,
Yeah.
and we need to understand what that means.
Oh, man, the country's in
Susan, you had
danger.
a great piece, as always, for MSNBC Online.
I didn't
about
know
how
that.
President
Man.
Biden's exclusive interview with
Are we
ABC's
really in
George
danger,
Stephanopoulos was
guys?
going to be. But I listened to it, I watched it, I read the transcript of it. It seemed to me, and again, this is with all respect to George, but it seemed to me like Stephanopoulos was pushing one issue only, one issue. whether Biden is okay cognitively to be president. I mean, Susan, I don't think that should have been the point of the interview. I'll concede that maybe some questions should have been posed to President Biden, but noting Trump declined to sit for a one-on-one with George Stephanopoulos. Why such a focus on that? Why such a focus on that issue?
Well, first of all, let me answer this for them. You need a president who could cognitively function. That's why. If a president can't cognitively function, he shouldn't even be president. He should be in a fucking nursing home. But you'll never hear Katie Fang and these bootlicking queens say that, such as your Jasmine Crockett and this one that's on here named Danielle Moody, I believe her name is. This is what she looks like. Yes, indeed. So yeah, these people are not going to speak on that. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna let these people speak, but that's just my answer. Of course, their answer is not going to be my answer. So here we go.
I understand your points and Danielle's points about the media and how they should be focusing on Donald Trump, but this is the way it has always been when it came to covering Donald Trump. The lies persist, and the debate performance. It was not a singular 90 minutes that had America really concerned about President Biden's health. It was a confirmation of the concern that people have had through the last several years, especially the last year. We see it in the polling. We've seen it in the stories. The whole purpose and the reason why Biden agreed to do this interview was to put people to rest on that singular issue on the debate. It wasn't a wide-ranging debate of just kind of how things are going. President Biden has refused to do those types of debates, most famously the Super Bowl interview. I shouldn't say debates before, but interviews. And this was the whole purpose, was to address those concerns, which have been raised at the highest level in our government. And, we have a lot of people off the record who works with the president. This is a legitimate concern. Biden did nothing to help himself with that interview. As a matter of fact, I think it's worse off. I think we're going to keep hearing the talk about it. And I would love nothing than to talk about 2025 and what a danger it is and a threat to our democracy and how bad Donald Trump is. But he's been bad for years. And his numbers are still where they are. The country's divided. And we have to make sure, someone like me who's a Republican and for right-leaning independents, I don't have the luxury of liking who the Democratic candidate is. I wish I could. Doesn't matter if I do or I don't. I have to vote for that candidate because I have to prevent Donald Trump from being in office. So
it's all about preventing Donald Trump from being elected.
What the Democrats do as far as choosing their candidate.
Interesting.
But Joe Biden's not doing himself any favors, and the cries are going to continue to grow. You don't like the narrative. I get it, but it's not changing.
Danielle, I want to come to you because, and I respect Susan always and Susan's opinion, but I have a couple of issues and I wanted to talk to you, Danielle, about one. I feel like this is just a hammer looking for a nail. This is just one huge exercise in confirmation bias that's happening here. And I also think that the risk that we hear from kind of Susan's point about Republicans not having a say and really not really caring what happens in terms of liking who the Democratic nominee is, it reflects the normalization on the Republican side of Trump's bad behavior. It reflects the normalization of criminal conduct by Donald Trump. And I've asked this question before, and I wonder why the Democrats aren't taking a page out of the GOP playbook and just circling the wagons around Joe Biden. They do it around somebody like Donald Trump, who isn't worthy of it and has never earned it, but they're not doing it for Joe Biden.
Because this is what Democrats consistently do, and I don't understand it either. Yes, Joe Biden had a bad debate. He had a bad moment. I get it. But when you look at the course of his record over the last 4 years, and the kind of economy that he inherited, the COVID-19 crisis that he inherited, we have to remember that when Joe Biden came into office, over 500,000 Americans had died because Donald Trump couldn't be bothered to tell them to put a mask on and couldn't be bothered to take care of themselves.
They ain't got shit to do with it.
Further divided this country. But we don't have a conversation about that, right? We don't have
She is bootlicking to the fullest. Go ahead on, Queen Bootlicker.
And how he did
Queen
not add to the
Bootlicking
deficit in the way that Donald
in the
Trump
highest
did
degree.
and put us nearly into a recession, right? We don't have that conversation either. And this is the same thing that the media did with Hillary Clinton when she had the flu. It was all eyes on Hillary Clinton. She's unfit. She's unwell. This is what we did back in 2016. Donald Trump is an existential threat to this country and our democracy. He is telling us out loud every single day what he plans to do. Project 2025 is not a hypothetical. It is a blueprint on how to reimagine this country through the lens of white nationalists, right? And so instead of circling the wagons and protecting our democracy and our president and end this ticket, the media wants to focus on whether or not Joe Biden can stand up for 90 minutes. I would like to focus on the fact that Donald Trump, every time he opens up his mouth, is using white supremacist talking points and already has the Supreme Court and hundreds of federal seats on lock. When he gets into the executive seat, all bets are off. And that is what the American people need to be paying attention to. What kind of country do you want? Right? Because I guarantee you that the people that are surrounding Biden right now are not on their way to jail or indicted in the way that Donald Trump's entire team has been.
You speak the truth. I'm sorry I'm out of time, Susan. I want to invite both of you to come back so we can continue this conversation.
Just one thing. You know, I agree with everything that Danielle said. I just wish that the Democrats would stop talking about it. Nancy Pelosi saying, is this a condition or was it an episode? Leads the media to follow. Sorry.
Well, listen, and let me be clear, and I'm probably making a lot of people angry right now, telling me I need to wrap, but here's the deal. Because we talk about it, and I want to be clear, I'm talking about it on my show because I think it's an important thing to acknowledge why it's a disservice. But I agree with you, Danielle and Susan Del Percio, that we need to move on from it and focus on the critical issues like Project 2025. And the last thing I'm going to do is this. President Biden said in the interview last night, it's about the character of the president. The character of the president is going to determine whether or not this Constitution is employed the right way. And if you believe in that, that's not Donald Trump. Thanks to both of you for being here. I appreciate it. Coming up, tracking Beryl, the latest on Tropical Storm Beryl, as meteorologists warn it could become a hurricane again before making landfall. And
yep, that's what they love to talk about. Oh, they scan us with the Trump thing again. Oh, Trump going to destroy democracy and take us all the way back to 1868 and 1858 and 1828 and all this bullshit. All of it is bullshit. And man, and these bootlickers, these queen bootlickers, man, they just, woo, they are performing, man. I don't know who they talking to, but they ain't talking to me. And I don't think they talking to any of y'all either who know the truth as to what's going on here. You know what I'm saying? Because this is far beyond politics, man. It's far beyond politics. So, shoot, we all know these people are nothing but figureheads. So whether you vote or not, it doesn't even matter, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Because they're going to put in whoever they want to put in, especially for the presidential seat. So, I mean, if anybody was to vote, it's okay to leave the presidential ballot blank. Just vote down ballot. Vote for your local governor, your local councilman. You know what I'm saying? Your local mayor. You know, forget the presidential election. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, hell, you can even vote for your congressman or your senator. You know, or even your state senator or your delegate. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it. That's it. But all this other shit is a joke. These people, that's what these queen bootlickers are doing. They are performing. They are performing to the best of their abilities. And man, I tell you, they are performing well. I'm just sitting up here laughing because I'm not convinced. This is why their ratings are so damn low. People ain't listening to the bullshit that they saying. They are not listening to the bullshit that they saying because they know what they deep in the back of their mind. All they saying is bullshit coming straight out of their goddamn ass. Yup, that's it. That's all I want to leave y'all with. That was the Candy Fang show on MSNBC. In case y'all wondering where the audio was coming from, because you know they're gonna block this channel out if I, play the actual broadcast for you, which is cool because, hey, look, MSNBC ratings ain't all that good anyway. So, if y'all really want to bring their ratings up, y'all could go ahead and watch their show if you want. They're going to need it. They're going to need your support. Oh, man. Yep. Other than that, that's all I want to put out. Y'all be easy. Y'all take care. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.